This video is sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a subscription-based service sending you an assortment of exclusive collectibles, figures, apparel, and other cool geek gear delivered right to your door. For more information, check out lootcrate.com/JaganX or follow the link in the description below. If you decide Loot Crate is right for you, don't forget to give yourself a sweet discount by making sure you enter the promo code JaganX to save 20% off. Thanks guys, and enjoy the rest of the video. Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. So today we got a special video, so big shout out to Warbalt. So if you guys know Warbalt, he has a YouTube channel. He reached out to me yesterday saying that, hey man, me and a couple like YouTube content creators, we wanted to make this like series on who you should trade for. With the ML selectors coming, one of the biggest questions we get asked, and because Warbalt told me that he gets asked that a lot, and I get asked that like every day pretty much. It's like, hey, I got ML Baal, I got ML Araminta, I got Avodra. Should I trade for this hero, or who should I trade for? So Warbalt's idea, getting content creators to kind of collaborate, I think it's a really cool thing. So, big shout out to Warbalt. Check out his channel if you haven't. I think he's really known for his Fire Corvus. Anyways, so basically all of us were basically taking a couple of the heroes, ML heroes specifically, that we have. I only have two, so if you follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, you know that I only have two right now, both from the Mystics. That's Fallen Cecilia and Apocalypse Ravi. Based on the topic, should you trade for? Right now, I would say, I'll give you guys like the Cliff Notes version here. Apocalypse Ravi, no, you shouldn't trade for her yet, but I'm gonna get to her in a bit because I think there's some potential there. But but for Fallen Cecilia, I would say right now, if anything, she's one of the highest rated knights, especially on a defense team. On specific offense teams, she can really work too. Now, at this point, I do have a Fallen Cecilia build video where I compared two kind of mainline, like streamlined builds. One is like a bruiser ML Cecilia, which actually has better stats than what you see right now on screen. I think it was like 81% crit chance and then 260 something crit damage. Bruiser build ML Cecilia versus like a speedy tanking ML Cecilia. So I think the ML Cecilia I had featured in that video was like about a 270 speed and 22,000 health, and I think about the same amount of defense. So basically, if Fallen Cecilia like usages, I mean, you can throw off your enemies just swapping, whichever build. Going a bruiser build, ML Cecilia could really throw off. Let's say in GVG and you have her on a defense team, it could really throw off your opponent because they really don't know what to expect unless you make it really obvious with the rest of your team comp. But as a bruiser, she can do quite a bit of damage. As a speedy tank, she could be really annoying. So speedy tank with Elbrus has like, what? Wait, oh, never mind. Never mind. I read someone on stream chat saying that 270 speed is the fastest ML Cecilia. I said 270? Oh, my bad. 207. Not 270. 207. If I did say 270, my bad. That's Oxlaw's. I don't think anybody would be really taking that one out. Anyways, if she has Elbrus, she can proc provokes. If, as you can see my build right now, the effectiveness is pretty low. So ideally, like the stats you should aim for is, if you're going for bruiser, you should aim for some attack. I do have the data mine opened. Her skill 1 is 0.7 damage scaling. When you're talking about the normal damage scaling, it's always scaled from attack. So it's very low, 0.65 on the S3, so even lower than the S1, but it's a 12% HP scaling on the S3 here, and then 7% HP scaling on the S1. Because she has like 7,000 base HP, it gives her, I think the best actually, the highest HP knight is a Sagittarius knight, and she has it. So if you're comparing like other bruisers like Ken, which I would say is more of a damage dealer kind of bruiser, you can't compare that kind of thing. But if people are bringing in like let's say a squishy cleave comp to your defensive team and you have ML Cecilia there, something around like these stats will do quite enough damage, like 3,000, 4,000 crit damage. I was talking to one of my friends, Terror. His ML Cecilia is a bruiser one, has higher attack than mine, and he does significantly more damage. So it's just to keep that in mind. Even though it's a low attack damage mod, having more attack of course does end up being more damage. That's just you know, that's pretty obvious. But when I was building her, I was thinking that okay, her attacking skill damage mod isn't that high, so maybe, you know, I don't really need to fish for attack. But then after seeing his perform and seeing like a lot more damage, like 1.5k more crit damage, it's significant, especially on, you know, like on a thief or something like that. I was convinced that yeah, I need to get some more attack. So for ML Cecilia, again, yeah, if you can get defense, that would be great. The higher the HP, the better. Everything in her kit works with HP. Her S2, very, very good. Barrier granted, and it's proportional to her max health. So if you have 20,000 HP and you max molar this, which I have, you're getting about a 15% HP barrier, and that would equal about 3,000 HP. So that's pretty crazy. If you don't have it molded at a base 10%, I mean, you're getting that, you're still getting about like 1,500. So obviously the more HP you have, the more barrier is on your team. At 3,000 HP on, let's say you have like a Seaside Bologna or a Dizzy at 15,000 HP on the defense team, having that barrier, a 3k HP barrier, would be insanely good, because you know that really puts them up to like a tank level, 18,000 HP. So that's what makes Fallen Cecilia really good. At the current video recording state, we do have a lot of defense heroes. I'm gonna just show you guys really quick. Pretty sure like if I just like refresh arena, most defense heroes, you'll see C Armin and Fallen Cecilia like in the combo down there. So people who have both would most likely run both on the defense team. Again, you can see that there. I just refreshed. 1, 2. Okay, 2 of them. So it's assuming that the ones that don't run Fallen Cecilia and C Armin don't have Fallen Cecilia. But it's a very, very solid, very annoying team comp if you're talking about a stall comp, which is quite popular because on the attacking side, most people don't want to spend their time in arena. They just want to cleave, so they want to do it fast. So generally, Fallen Cecilia and C Armin team comps are one, they take a long time to kill, and the second thing is sometimes you don't even kill them and they can actually counter you and kill you off. I've seen 25,000 HP Fallen Cecilias with pretty decent speed, not a bruiser, not a damage dealer whatsoever, but I've lost in arena because of the HP barrier was way too much for my damage dealers to handle. I went into the fight without knowing that, and I totally lost to the punishment, to the lightning. If you are building obviously a tanky like utility Fallen Cecilia, I would definitely recommend anywhere over 20,000 HP. 22,000 HP is not even super hard to get if you go with like full HP on the right side. Obviously I am going crit damage, so I have a crit damage necklace there. But then obviously the more health substats you have on the left side, obviously, you know, that makes a big difference. If you go speed, over 200 speed would be nice to have. It's just having Cecilia Lap is really good because of the S2 passive. A barrier is casted on the lowest health ally or even herself, if after her turn. So realistically, if she's going really fast, she can keep this barrier up a lot, and that could save your team. S3 really good, grants skill null for the entire team, very useful on an offensive fight, especially if you're thinking about like specific strategies. Let's say you take out a Vildred and you don't want him to cleave your team. Maybe you could take him out with your S3, and then when he has his 100% CR boost, gets a turn, AoE, then it won't affect your team at all. Maybe the blind might land. So skill nullifier only nullifies the damage, but it does not nullify the debuffs. So that's just for newer players. Ideally, if I wanted to go bruiser ML Cecilia like the way I'm going right now, I would need to +5 this. But if you're going with a speedy tank Fallen Cecilia, the mola investment you'll need is only +4, +5 and then +3. So the cooldown reduction on the S3 there, and then you want 100% provoke chance on the S1. Very good to have. She has no elemental weakness, so that means she'll never miss. So like something like Fire Cecilia, her S3 does 100% provoke, but then AoE, like that might not land if she misses on someone who is to her element is elemental advantage, so ice in that case. But for Fallen Cecilia, she doesn't have that, so it's really good to have. That's why Elbrus is really good too. For people who usually do like cleave comps and have like a 2-turn attacker, let's say like Baiken or even BBK, let's say her cleave did kill someone, but ML Cecilia didn't die and they don't have immunity on, this provoke can cut in with Elbrus and prevent them from doing whatever they were gonna do. You know, so it's really good on a defense team. But like I said, if you're going with bruiser stats and you want her to be a bruiser, you need that 15% damage there. So she would ideally be +15. But of course, that would be said about every single bruiser. So like Fire Ken and whatnot. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. I'm gonna do a damage comparison test in a bit after I talk about Apocalypse Ravi, and I'm actually gonna build her. So Apocalypse Ravi right now, this is the second hero that I'm going to talk about. Again, like I said, we're talking about the ML heroes that we have and whether or not you should be trading for them. Now, at the point of this recording, Apocalypse Ravi is still on the Mystic banner, so potentially you won't be trading for her. Now, a lot of people early on, before her, like, you know, so one thing is that she got shadow nerfed. She was originally supposed to be a bit stronger. One, she was supposed to have, she's a warrior. She was supposed to have Ken's star sign. So that would have, give her more base HP. So Capricorn, more base HP, but they changed it. And it was kind of like a sneaky change. No one really knew about it, but then it was all of a sudden changed to Cancer. So the HP, base HP is slightly lower. They also they say shadow nerfed her S3. Originally her S3 skill was supposed to be a 1.8 times damage mod with a 20% self health. They reduced it to a 1.3. So 1.3, very low on the S3 there. But I think the S1 used to be like a 1.2 and soul burn to 1.8. Now it's reduced to a 1 times mod, and the soul burn is still a 1.8, but the soul burn does take 20 souls, so it's quite expensive, and it's a 12% HP scaling, 20% HP scaling if you soul burn it. So again, it does take 20 souls there, like I said. So very right now at this point, to be honest, I think a lot of people are giving her a bad review, and I'm gonna give you my honest review on her. I think that she's not bad. She's not bad, but I think the problem is people are comparing her with Ken, which is really not really comparable. They have obviously different skill sets, though, so the roles you're gonna use them for are totally different. Now, for a couple GVG fights just in the past week, I actually have realized that I need a bruiser that has no elemental weakness, and she kind of fit the role. Now, even though that she's not invested in Mola here, so you know, if I'm gonna showcase her later, it's gonna be a bit different compared to like Fallen Cecilia. But she was actually okay. She held her own. She can be used as a dark elemental tank, so light bait tank as well. Although at the moment, all the light heroes that do like significant like damage can mostly maybe one-shot her if set up properly. So like Specimen Says or ML Araminta or ML Baal might be really annoying for her, but she has really good sustaining abilities, and that's the reason why I think that she still can be usable. You can build her as a tank easily, like 20,000 HP should be very achievable, 1,000 defense and decent speed if you have her on a speed set. Some people have considered using a counter set on her, and I have seen counter set Apocalypse Ravis be pretty annoying, just because of her kit. Counter with 20,000 HP, 150 speed, decent damage, but it not ended up being a threat. Apocalypse Ravi, one of her main weaknesses right now on a defense team is that her damage output is too low. So if you could bait away, like let's say with F Maya or even C Armin, you can really bait her away. Apparently she can do some crazy damage if you max mola her, but that does take quite a bit of investment. There are rumors saying that she might get a buff. So if you do pull Apocalypse Ravi, I would say you're pretty lucky. You know, just with the reputation of Smilegate, like buffing heroes, they're on a pretty good trend, I would say. So you know, it wouldn't be totally out of question that they would consider buffing her, especially if they see that the player base is not really using her at all. Or, you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure it could happen, but please don't take my word for it. So I wouldn't, in terms of ML selector, I wouldn't trade for Apocalypse Ravi at this point. I do think that there are other ones that are more important. But anyways, the S3, again, like I said, I talked about the damage mods. It grants a skill nullifier to the person that is dead, but it says random dead ally. So in a GVG fight, I had one fight with Trap House last week, and I did use her. I killed off Crow and revived my DN in that team comp. Although I did lose the match, that kind of came in handy. But again, the problem is that it doesn't output enough damage to really kind of ensure the revive. That's the main problem, I think, for her S3. Yeah, the damage, yeah, so yeah, you can see that, and then grants a skill nullifier. The healing here is very good. Her passive, every 20 fighting spirit, she gets 5% crit chance. So when you're building Apocalypse Ravi, I think somewhere near like 75 to 85% crit chance is like ideal. You still need it. You don't want the passive, yeah, you don't want to rely on the passive for the crit chance. Every time you're attacked, she does acquire fighting spirit to recover her own health. The health works out to be about like 8% or 10% HP recovered of her max health. What the heck was that? I don't even know those people. I think this is like this drop down. Anyways, yeah, and then the S1 always heals her on the damage, so that's why people are thinking like, you know, go counter. But speed set seems to be working pretty good. Anyways, I'm gonna do a quick damage comparison and showcase just to see if you guys want to like kind of invest in her. There is one thing I will say though, that people are comparing again her versus Fire Ken. They think like, oh, you know, Bruiser Warrior. They think Fire Ken right away, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. Like I said, if you're gonna compare damage output, I think Fire Ken has more potential. He has the Vigor buff that can grant himself attack and defense for 30%. He has I'm gonna set up a team comp here. He has defense breaks on S1, S2, and S2, yeah, and the stun and attack down on the S3 when he gets the Vigor buff up. So it's like, it's not the same, and he has better damage mods. And actually, I'm gonna compare. So what I wanted to do here is do a damage comparison, just really quick, so you guys are not just hearing this theory craft, but I'll put Fallen Cecilia in front. Actually, I'll put Ken in front, Fallen Cecilia in the back here. Crit imprints to cheating a bit. So yeah, Ken is by far, and his soul burn, I would say Ken's soul burn is much more useful than ML Ravi's. The soul burn is much more useful. You can have a second turn, and ideally if you had the Vigor buff up, S2 into the S1 will grant you a defense break, and then punch them with the S1 is very, very strong. I'm gonna go in with my Ken is built right now. Actually, I'm gonna put on portrait of saviors here, just so we can compare. And I'm gonna direct swap for the showcase. I'm gonna direct swap Ken's gear to Ravi. All right, so you guys kind of get a comparison on the stats. You know, what gear would get what kind of stats and what kind of damage output do you expect. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this team here. I might not even like actually finish like the fight here, just to see. We're just getting some numbers.
Let's advance together.
Yeah, RIP gold. Yeah.
Goddess.
Yeah, RIP gold for science. I think people don't want to spend the gold to figure it out, but you could, realistically, you could, yeah. Anyways, we're gonna try to get the vigor up. That's where Ken really shines.
This is only a temporary allowance.
So I'm gonna do the S3 on ML Cecilia here. So again, S3, 12% HP scaling, lower attack mod. So you can see the difference already. And I'll compare my Ken stats for you guys in a sec.
I will show you.
But now do keep in mind that my ML Cecilia is not max molded, but for a tank, she actually does quite a bit of damage.
I believe this is what the goddess wills. I will guide you through the light.
So I'm gonna try to get another S1 here, so you guys get a damage comparison. I will do this actually. I will do this here because I'm gonna get a vigor buff on the next fight, so you guys can see again the damage. Keep in mind that I'm gonna keep the attack buffs up for the entire fight. So it may skew your numbers a bit, but realistically, if you are going on an offensive and you're bringing these heroes, you would want an attack buffer. So I'm gonna do the vigor buff on the boss here.
Let's advance.
C-Dom will probably die, but we do have a skill null.
Be punished.
So that skill null really comes in handy. Skill null works without a time, so you can't, it will never expire. It only leaves if you dispel it or hit it away. So that's, and what I mean hitting and dispelling is two separate things, because people can still use something like Falcon O'Cleary's S3 and you can still remove it. You can dispel it without getting hit, but otherwise a skill null generally, so 3100 right there. So skill null generally leaves only after getting hit.
I will guide you through the light. I believe this is what the goddess wills.
Step aside.
4.4 on that ad there. So right now I have the vigor buff, so this will ignore effect resistance if I actually use it on her. Actually, I'm gonna soul burn it so you guys can see like that aspect of Ken. There's no point soul burning Fallen Cecilia. So yeah, see, with the defense break landed, it does so much, and you have a burn, and you have a vigor buff. If you get an attack buff on, that burn does more damage, because of course a burn is scaled from attack. But the vigor buff does increase his attack by 30%. With an attack buff, not a greater attack buff, if you have a Mascot Hazel, it would still work as well, 75% attack buff. But with attack buff, it does another 50% attack on Ken there, which I don't have at the moment. Feels bad now. But you see, like, the burns add up, you know, every damage adds up. So that's where Ken becomes really good. Now, obviously, I think that, you know, if you're comparing, like, ML Ravi to Fire Ken, like, the difference is that ML Ravi has an innate built-in Sigurd Scythe, but better. So a lot of people do run Ken with Sigurd Scythe for that self-sustain. So Sigurd Scythe procs when your hero is under 50% HP, it increases your attack, and then it heals based on your damage dealt. So, you know, but Ken, one of the popular artifacts on Ken is to run Sigurd Scythe. I am running Portrait again, like I said, for the showcase here. This is the gear that he has on right now to reflect those stats on the left side. So 84% crit chance, 220% crit damage, 19,000 health, not really that good, but you know, it's hard to find a balance for everything. The attack is pretty decent, 1800. If I swap this directly to Ravi though, you will see a big difference because of their base stats. So I'm going to do that right now. And actually, I think I'm not going to go full kit on Ken, although I will show what it looks like on fully Ken's gear. I'm going to swap the weapon a bit to adjust her. Alright. Realistically, the helmet could use some crit chance, crit damage, and health. But so the helmet is not ideal on my build here. But and then I think crit speed set for this one, Ken, and then crit set. So again, showing you guys. So it looks like that. with full Ken's gear, it has you can see the attack is a bit lower, like 100 lower than Ken's. Defense was about the same. HP is a bit lower, like 500 lower, I think. No, a bit over 500, almost 1,000. Crit rate is a bit higher, and then crit damage is the same because crit damage, there's no crit damage awakenings. When I was originally theory crafting Apocalypse Ravi, I was thinking that maybe go more attack because she has decent damage scaling. So she has a 1x mod, again 1x mod on the S1, 1.3 on the S3. But then when I took a look at Ken's actually has even better. So Ken technically has better HP scaling and better like total attack scaling. So hold on one second, let me pull up Ken's here so you guys can compare. So I will read it out. So the S1 has a 10% health scaling with a 1x mod. S2 has a 1.2 times scale with a 10% health mod. And then S3 has a 1.5 with a 30% health. So no matter how you look at it, other than the vigor needs the actual like full focus gauge to actually use the S3, no matter how you look at it, he does more damage than Apocalypse Ravi. Now, like I said, I will swap a weapon here. I'm gonna use I think Vivian's weapon for this one. So I lower a bit of HP, but increase the attack a bit. I think she actually needs it to make up for it because her HP scaling is quite low. So you can see that there was about 400 HP difference. Her base HP is too low. So I'm gonna commit to the change. So 450,000 gold for science. Again, keep in mind that the Mola is at 000 at the point, and then for Ken, the good thing is that I don't have him maxed, so you won't see like a really big difference, only based on their actual skill sets. Of course, there's a bit like about 10% or something like that. I'm gonna give that same portrait to her so you guys can compare. But like I said, I think this is a damage comparison is fine, but if you're comparing them for the exact same roles, Ken takes the cake. But like I said, I think Apocalypse Ravi is interesting. Just oops, sorry, I went press start. I'm gonna go and swap in Apocalypse Ravi here. Okay, let's put her in front. Actually, no, for this one, I'm going to put her in the back. There again, the reason is if she gets hit a lot, she will lose her crit chance. Even though I do have a crit imprint, we have 80% crit, it should be fine. We're going to manual this.
Let's advance together. You pitiful beings. Death is your repentance.
I'm going to go straight for the S3 on this one. So she gets the cooldown. 8,400. You can see that damage is pretty strong, right? On it looks pretty strong. 20% HP, just to keep that in mind. And we're not hitting the boss, so the defense is a bit different on the enemies here. On the S2, 10% HP scaling on Ken with about the same damage mod, did about 5,400 on these guys. So just to keep that in mind. And I'm gonna do the S1 here.
I will guide you through the light.
For Apocalypse Ravi when she gets a turn. I'll allow him to revive it because I want a bit more test. Ken did 9,960 on the boss with his S3. Okay, a Trema, thanks. Was that with the attack buff? I don't recall. 5,500. So you can see it's about the same level as Ken. But again, like I said, if you're talking about like full damage, Ken does more because he can defense break, burn, attack down, stun, increase his own attack and defense. So a lot more going for it if you're talking about damage dealer.
Out of my way.
Okay, with attack buff? Okay, perfect. So hopefully we can finish this one off. I'm going to save the attack buff for the next round. And then we're going to try the S3 again. Pretty sure this one's dead though. Nope, not yet. Perfect.
I believe this is what the goddess wills.
Okay, so right now I would have 100% crit. So 20 fighting spirit equals 5%. So technically you can get about 25% extra crit rate on Apocalypse Ravi if you have her max like focus gauge or fighting spirit rather. I call it focus, but focus are rangers. Feels bad, man.
I'll deal with this.
Okay, so I'm gonna wait for the S3 here. Just gonna bide a bit of time
Are you
so we can
prepared
compare
for
the
this?
damage on the boss.
Let's advance together.
I'm so excited! Nixie is the
So we're way overcapped on the crit rate, but I just wanted to compare the crit damage.
Look at me.
So I wanted to make it as consistent as possible.
I believe this is what the goddess wills.
Increase her own, okay, one more turn. So we get the boss 5.1 crit damage.
Shall we go to the land steep in death?
And again, keep in mind, their stats are pretty similar, other than the HP is a bit lower than Ken right now.
Advance together.
But her attack is higher than Ken. So you gotta keep that in mind. Oh crap, am I gonna be too strong?
Step back.
Okay, there we go. Here, we got attack buff, and we're gonna do the S3 right now. And I'm also gonna soul burn the S1. I forgot to do that. Soul burning the S1 does make a big difference because that's a 1.8 times mod, which is stronger than anything Ken has.
My goddess,
Alright, it's stronger than anything Ken has.
grant me the power to extinguish the evil.
Freeze. Cha. Don't put all your faith in me.
So I'm just gonna try
On
to...
my way.
Oh my goodness. Wow. C-Dom, man. Why? Why are you so good? Aff. Okay. Let's go one more time. I'm gonna go for the soul burn this time. We're gonna aim just for the soul burn. So, dang. That Elbrus proc. So because you can see that Elbrus is pretty annoying.
I believe
Okay, we're gonna try to
this is
kill
what
off the
goddess
top guy
wills.
first. We're gonna just get to the boss. We're gonna soul burn it.
Be punished.
Yeah, stealing the show.
Your life ends here. Shall we go
Okay.
to the land steeped in death?
And never get back on your feet.
I am the strongest.
Yeah, okay, you can see that
I will show
Cecilia has a 79% crit chance. A 12% crit imprint, I think, on Dominial.
Let's advance together.
And she didn't get the crit on the guy in the back. So 90%-ish. 91. 90?
I believe
91.
this is what the goddess wills.
Step back, come flies.
All right.
Look at me. I said look at me.
Are you prepared for this?
I will guide you through the light.
Okay, let's go. Let's go soul burn, and then we're gonna end this.
I believe.
Okay,
this is
attack
what the
buff
goddess wills. You pitiful beings. Death is your repentance.
Still got the crit buff up, which is perfect because I don't want to miss a crit. That'd be really bad. My showcases always ends in some kind of blunder. Here we go. 8,900.
This is only a temporary.
So how much was the Ken's S3, did you say? Even though the damage mod is a bit different. But Ken did... hold on, I'm scrolling up a bit. Holy crap, you guys... 9,960. So... Yeah, so you can see that, like, with similar stats...
Let's advance.
Well, okay, actually... Right, Ken does have a slight bit of Mola. I'm figuring that the Mola actually makes a really big difference, especially on HP scaling type of heroes. So just keep
I'll deal with this.
keep that in mind. So like if you have like
I'll punish
outside scaling, not just attack scaling, actually molaing the skills will make a very big difference. So
I will show you the power.
okay, we're just gonna end this one.
Nixie is the strongest. Freeze. Ha!
I will guide you.
So
through the
at the
light.
moment, it's doing about the same damage as C-Dom. But again, keep in mind that it's soul burn on Apocalypse Ravi, doing about the same as C-Dom. So even though this is not a C-Dom versus yeah, 6,000.
To the land steep in death.
8933 Ravi on Soulburn, says Atrema. Thank you for those numbers. Alright, so yeah, anyways, that's it for this. I wanted to again collaborating with Warbalt and a couple other content creators on this series on who you should trade for. Now I would say this: if you have ML Baal, ML Araminta, let's say, and you have like I would say the most meta right now MLs, maybe like Dark Corvus or Judge Kisa or whatever, I would say at least out of the two that I'm covering today, Fallen Cecilia is one of the best knights, and I don't really think that a knight will really outclass her anytime soon. So in terms of investments, I think that she's pretty good. She's pretty good. Her kit is really solid. When she was released originally, we were already seeing the potential of her. And when she came out, she worked exactly the way we all thought she would. And so I would say like Fallen Cecilia is like one of those heroes that right. Fallen Cecilia is like one of those heroes that are really good to invest in, to get. If you do pull her, let's say from like a Moonlight pull or whatever, consider yourself really lucky. You know, she's not a damage dealer, so she doesn't have those like, ooh, like she's flashy, but she's really solid. And I have to say that she's probably like at this point one of the like most used ML heroes if people have her. Now Apocalypse Ravi, like I said, bad rap is that it feels like people are comparing her to heroes that already have a stronger I guess stronger kit for the role you plan her for. But again, her kit is completely unique, so you can't compare her to Fire Ken, even though I did. But it's because people usually compare to Fire Ken. I just wanted to put it on paper there. You know, how far apart are they in terms of like usability, and then the damage, of course. Now, I will say this, that Terror is saying that Dark Corvus and J. Kisei are a bad investment. Don't trade for them. But it's a complete joke. He just doesn't want people to have them anymore because they're really annoying to deal with, or really annoying to have. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna end this here. So yeah, if you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys found this helpful in your decision in the coming month for selecting ML 5 stars. And I'll see you guys next time.